morning, traders. Happy Monday. Welcome to Outlier Live, where we are talking about the biggest headlines of the day. And our top three stories of the day are: the Fed thinks there's no longer going to be a recession. Yeah, we'll see about that. Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are ready to kick each other's butts in the octagon. And lastly, why it is the very worst car market in human history. All that is coming up today on today's Outlier Live. All right, so for our first story of the day, the Fed staff no longer forecasting U.S. recession, Jerome Powell says. I don't know about that one, but if you're just tuning in, my name is Christopher Ewell, and I love talking about stocks and finding those outlier trades with outsized returns. And if you're interested in that too, be sure to definitely hit the subscribe button down below. And today's episode is sponsored by Outlier.com. Go to OVTLYR.com to learn why outliers win. And thank you all so much for coming and watching live. Let me say hi to everybody. Good morning, Rudy. Good morning, Coffee Lover. Good morning, Jack. Good morning, April. Thank you so much for tuning in live. So let's go to our first topic of the day. The Fed staff is no longer forecasting a U.S. recession. Well, I got to tell you one thing, right? With the recession, it's 2 quarters of consecutive GDP slowdown, I believe is like the textbook term of it. And what we're seeing here is exactly that. But let's be honest. The administration, those in charge, keep moving the goalposts of what a recession technically is. So the technical definition has actually been achieved and has been for a while. But we'll change the definition just a slight, tiny bit. And we'll just make it so it's not as embarrassing to our administration as it could be. But U.S. Federal Reserve Jerome Powell, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, said they're no longer forecasting a U.S. recession, and we do have a shot for inflation to return to target without high levels of job losses. Well, I'll tell you one thing. As far as what they are utilizing for getting inflation back on target, we all know that inflation is still rampantly out of control. And that's actually going to be in our third story today as well, so stick around for that. But you can't go anywhere today without saying, it costs how much? Or at least that's my experience, right? It costs how much for this? It costs how much for that? Who says inflation's slowing down when every time I turn around, everything is costing more, right? Let's see. So the staff has noticed a slowdown in growth starting later this year, but given the resilience of the economy recently, they are no longer forecasting a recession. So basically what they're saying is, we're going to have reasons to say it's technically a recession, but because of the economy's resiliency, it's no longer going to be a recession. Yeah, if you keep changing the definition of recession, it won't be one. Let's be honest here, people. This is quite a joke. This is quite a joke, right? Now, we've seen the market. The market has been extremely strong over the last few months, right? And this is what they're talking about here as far as the resiliency that they see out in the marketplace. Yeah, the market has definitely been strong. It's hit a bit of a wall here. And if we go to the outlier data, you'll see that actually back on June 23rd, we got a sell signal. So yeah, it was due for a nice pullback here. Will this pullback be continued? I'm not really sure. Let's go to Twitter and check out what the comments say for this, right? Let's scroll down. Yeah, he's right. It's not going to be a recession. It'll be a depression. Oh, let's not hope for that. But yeah, sure, there will never be another recession again as long as they keep changing the definition, which is exactly what we talked about. Literally, they said, yes, we see a slowdown. But because the economy is so resilient, we're not going to call it a recession. That's literally what this person's saying, right? There's never going to be a recession again if they keep changing the definition. Let's see. Scrolling down just a little bit. Why are the congressmen shorting the stock market? That's a great question. So there are so many questions, so much, in my opinion, baloney circling around this. They don't want to perceive any sort of weakness going into an election cycle. And because of that, they aren't ready to acknowledge the fact that there may be a recession on the horizon, but we're not going to call it that. We're going to say it's a slowdown, but there's no recession on the horizon. So let me know in the comments down below. Do you think that we're on the verge of having a recession? I mean, if we're not already in one, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, the Fed even said, we expect pain. And that's what the economy is seeing right now. We expect pain. I don't know what they're basing their metrics on as far as recession, but everybody I talk to, my entire life that I'm living every day today, I'm seeing recessionary forces here, and we'll see where that goes. So down below, be sure to hit the like button if you like that story, or if you like the fact that the Fed thinks there's no longer going to be a recession, and be sure to leave a comment down below to let us know your thoughts. And let's go to our next story. All right, Elon Musk is ready to kick some butt against Mark Zuckerberg in the Octagon, and it will be streamed live on X, which it used to be Twitter. X is no longer Twitter. Xter. I don't know, whatever you want to call it these days. But Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are ready to duke it out. But Mark Zuckerberg had a couple zingers already. And if you're just joining in, my name is Christopher Yule, and I love finding those I love talking about stocks and finding those outlier trades with outsized returns. And if you're interested in that too, be sure to definitely hit the subscribe button down below. And today's episode is sponsored by Outlier.com. Go to OVTLYR.com to find out why outliers win. Now, the zingers that I'm talking about here, right? So Musk versus Zuck will be live streamed on X. So Elon posted that on the X platform on Sunday, with all proceeds going to charity for veterans. That sounds great. And then on Threads, and let's be very clearly honest here, Threads is a total joke. But Zuckerberg said on his Threads account, shouldn't we use a more reliable platform to raise money for charity? Ooh, the punches are already being thrown right now with Zuckerberg saying, shouldn't we have a more reliable platform to stream this on? And I got to tell you, that when I was reading through this story, I was like, ooh, that one burns. But that's ironic coming from the fact that they're talking on the Threads platform, which has lost, I believe, close to 70 to 80% of all of their active user base in the first couple weeks. So yeah, Zuckerberg, you can take Threads and do something with it. I'm trying to keep this PG here. But let's go to the comments to see what people are saying about this, right? It'll be a sight to watch them fight. I know that this is definitely going to be something interesting to watch. Let's scroll down just a little bit. Must be one of the best marketing campaigns ever. Who agrees? Yeah. Which team are you on? Team Elon is definitely winning versus Team Mark. Okay, but realistically, who do you think will actually win? Zuckerberg? And I'm an Elon fanboy. I really am. I think he's a cool guy. I like what he does. But I'll be honest here. Mark Zuckerberg literally trains for jiu-jitsu. Like, he has, I believe, like a purple belt, which is almost up there as far as the ranks of belts goes. And that takes years of fighting practice. I don't know what all Elon is doing, but I do know that Zuckerberg's been training for this for a long time, and Elon may be about to get his butt whooped. But let's go look at the outlier data. We see that on the outlier data, we got a sell signal back on July 5th for Meta. And yeah, it has definitely hit a wall and is starting to get weaker and weaker by the minute. And then we could look at Tesla's outlier data as well. And we actually got a buy signal. So while we got a sell signal in Meta, we got a buy signal in Tesla. What does that mean? Hey, it means that not only are they going to be battling in the ring, in the octagon, but they're also going to be battling in the stock market. So let me know. I would really love to know your comments down below, and hit the like button. Do you think this is a Musk victory, or do you think that Zuckerberg is going to pull out all of his training and just knock the Musk out? Let's put it that way, right? I don't know. I'm rooting for I'm rooting for Elon Musk, but I will say I think Zuckerberg is going to take him down. So let us know in the comment down below, and be sure to hit the like button. And let's go to our final story of the day. Oh, this is the least affordable car market in modern history. So cars have only been around for like 120 years at this point, so all of this is kind of modern. Just 8% of new vehicles are costing under $30,000. I remember when I first started buying cars, $30,000 was like a luxury car. That could get you a BMW, right? $30,000 would get you a mid-sized Mercedes. Now only 8% of new vehicles are costing under $30,000. And if you're just tuning in, my name is Christopher Yule, and I love talking about stocks and finding those outlier trades with outsized returns. And if you're interested in that too, be sure to definitely hit the subscribe button down below. And today's episode is sponsored by Outlier.com. Go to OVTLYR.com to find out why outliers win. So reading through this, right? New cars under $30,000 make up just 8% of the market supply. And that's down from 38% before COVID, right? So looking at this down here, we can see that there was a huge jump in car pricing right around the time COVID happened. Ba-bam! And a lot of that had to do with supply chain concerns, right? And the fact that dealers were putting markups on their cars because they literally were limited by what was on their lot and what they could get in because of supply chain shortages, especially in the chips. But not only that, they just could not keep any vehicles on the lot because people were excited to use their stimmy checks. If they weren't investing in the stock market, they were out buying new cars. And the trend has continued on, right? So do we actually think that there's going to be some sort of capitulation here where prices are going to come back down? I'm not really sure about that. But it only makes sense to continue to ratchet up price, offering more features in the size of the vehicle with each redesign. So what they're saying is that the auto industry, they love this. Of course they love this. They're selling cars for a lot more expensive than they used to be, right? This same car basically costs 38% more. I don't have the exact math, but let's just use round numbers here based on the story. This same car costs about 38% more now than it did 3 or 4 years ago. And car makers are so stoked about that, right? And dealers are stoked about this. But I do think that we've got to hit a concession point where it's going to come back down. And this has a lot to do with the Fed raising rates. Now, the Fed recognized that of their inflationary measures is car prices. And one thing that they are doing is by raising rates, they're making cars even less affordable. So the price of the car has gone up. The cost to finance the car has also gone up. And because of that, it makes it the least affordable car market in history. So looking at the data, an outlier, I just picked out Ford, for example. We got a sell signal back on July 17th, and Ford's been in a bit of a free fall. And we talked last week about how Ford is, oh my goodness, look at that. I didn't even realize the look of that chart there. That is ugly. We were talking last week about how Ford is losing, I think it was $2.2 billion in 2023. And that's after, no. It was losing $2.2 billion in 2022 on their EV operations, and now losing another $4.5 billion in 2023 on their EV operations. Whereas Tesla, on the other hand, they legitimately started the EV market, and they are going to destroy everybody else in the EV market, and they can do it on price. If you remember just a few weeks ago, Tesla dropped the price of their Model 3 and Model Y to make sure that all of them were going to qualify for their for the government's EV tax credit of $7,500. And I pulled the data here. We can actually look at the Tesla website right now. Going on to the Model 3, build your own, $32,000 after tax credit. $32,000. While that's not under the $30,000 level, right? You can get pretty dang close with the Tesla after your tax credit. And that is a huge victory. That's a huge victory. $32,000 after tax credit, where if we look at the chart over here, the average car price is up to $47,000. Average transaction price, $47,000. And Tesla, being the most innovative, interesting company, and yes, I am an Elon fanboy, in the world, can get you $15,000 under that. What is that? That's a good 30% under the average car price out there. Unbelievable. So let's go to the comments and see what people are saying on this, right? We should recommend young people to add another $40,000 car loan on top of their student loan payments, right? Yeah, people are hurting, right? This economy is not in a good place, even what the Fed is trying to say. The $40,000 car payment is not going to help anybody. The average interest rate is 8.62%. A couple years ago, that was in the 3% range, right? Now you've made it 3 times more expensive to finance that car. That's legal robbery. Would you agree? Yeah, Bidenomics, just saying. So it's nearly everything else, right? Everything is getting more and more expensive. By design, you'll know nothing and be happy. We've all heard that. So looking at the outlier data, I mean, for Tesla, it definitely has a buy. On Ford, it definitely has a sell. And if we go back to our other story here, right, Elon and Zuck are going to be fighting it out. Well, Elon and Tesla is going to be fighting against every automaker out there because they're really the only ones with anything left in the market that can still change their prices, right? They don't have to worry about the whole legacy model. And when they can sell a car for $32,000 after tax credit, that makes things a lot more interesting. And for those who are shopping for a new car, a pretty good value and one that a lot of people are going to be taking them up on. So on today's episode, we covered how the Fed thinks there's no longer going to be a recession. Let's call that baloney, just like it is. Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are ready to kick each other's butts, and they're going to live stream it on the X platform. And finally, it's the worst car market in history, and also the worst housing market in history. Yeah, so as far as no recession on the horizon, let's be real here. Nothing in anybody's term, nothing in anybody's viewpoint is saying that this is a great market out there. I think the Fed's on something, and it ain't good. So thank you all so much for coming today. Be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. We'd love to see you every single day, every single weekday, I should say, over on our Outlier channel. And be sure to like the video as well, because we do this for you all the time, and we want to know that you like these videos. Be sure to put your comments in the description down below, or I should say, put your comments down below to let us know what you thought of these stories. And Mahesh will be here tomorrow with his stock picks. Thank you all so much for tuning in today's Outlier Live, and we will see you next time.